It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. It's getting hot.
Greg,
What?
what are you doing?
Well, I thought I'd start off steamy, just like this next season of Fire Force season 2, because it's hot. It's hot.
Well, I know that there's fire, so I guess that is hot.
Oh, have you not seen their calendar collection?
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, they're all naked.
Yeah, that's pretty steamy.
Like, fully naked.
And see how we feel about that calendar in our review. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our review of Fire Force Season 2.
We're back for another Fire Force.
Yeah, it was so good. We wanted to see what the Season 2 was all about. I know it says title, but that is the title, Fire Force Season 2 of this season. Correct?
Yeah.
Did you ever seen an anime that has anything in its season title name that may be, not exactly accurate, but show significance? Like any sort of final, when in fact it's not?
Are you talking about Attack on Titan, where it says final season, or part
Yeah.
1, part 2, part 3?
And I want it on record. I think that's the dumbest name for a final season when you have 3 parts. When you say the final bite of the sandwich, you go, I'm final bite of the sandwich. Now I have another sandwich. That doesn't make sense. I'm just saying. I want it out there. I want it recorded.
Okay, it's now out there. It's not even about Attack on Titan. This is
nothing-
on Fire Force.
This has nothing to do with this
you
video.
have it now on
It's
file.
done. Anyway, so, Amy, what's the general plot of this season?
So we basically start off right where we ended the last season after he fights with Sho.
Yeah.
And now he just has to get stronger again in order to continue to fight the White Clad.
Yep. And the first stop to getting stronger, you know what that is?
What?
Going to China.
Yeah, going to China,
or
that's
what's
true.
left of it. So yeah, they go on a little journey, and that's how this whole
The
thing gets.
starts.
And then, so a lot of the season is not only just about him trying to become stronger, but it also goes a little bit more into the side characters, which I enjoyed the little plots of that.
Well, yeah,
so.
all about like fire, the Section 8, and a couple of their other close friends.
the shady underground.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's a big
true.
part of it. What's
Yeah.
really going on behind the church, which every anime depicts religion very positively. I can't think of a single time other than this one, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Remember the Pope in that other anime we were just watching? Super nice guy.
I think Greg is just trying to say is that we're being sarcastic here,
Yes,
and
very.
they're not very nice.
Drier than salty crackers.
But you'll have to watch the anime in order to find out what happens with the church.
Exactly.
If
So
you're interested in that, check it out.
Check it out. Anyway, so where do we watch this? Where do we check it out?
It's kind of the usual places on this one. You've got your Funimation, you've got your Crunchyroll, and you've got your Hulu. We watched it on Hulu.
Hulu.
It has it both dubbed and subbed on Hulu.
Yep. Which we'll have to have a video about dub versus sub at one point and talk about our feelings. But yeah, I think they have a pretty good subcast. So yeah, if you want to watch this season, check it out on Hulu.
Yeah.
When did this come out again? It came out pretty recently.
It's
I feel
pretty
like.
recently,
So
yeah.
it's still pretty fresh. But anyway, so the main characters this season, Shinra, main guy, still hero who's going to kick you in the face guy. We did get a couple of new people. Would you like to... Who are the 2 new people that were really kind of brought into the fray?
Well, I mean, I guess it's not really new, but like Joker's now like much more prominent. I mean,
Yeah.
we knew about him, but he's like now you kind of know a little bit more about him. I mean, Victor we also had again, but we get a little bit more about him. He's like a more prominent character.
Kind of the side characters got a little more story, and like I think the person that was fleshed out a lot, which they didn't go into his backstory, but just his actions in the season was Benimaru.
That's true.
I really liked his new role in this season. Which
Maki had some growth in this season.
she had a lot of growth in actually. You
yeah.
didn't expect that, and then
No.
So some of these side characters get a little bit more in the spotlight. So how is the animation this season? You think it still stacks up? You think that they need to fire their drawer guy or back to the drawing board? Maybe.
I really liked the animation. Still, I felt like it was the same quality as season 1.
Well,
Still
episode 1 probably hit the best animation.
where their head no clothes.
Something like that. But I think it's pretty solid still. I think they haven't lost quality. It can happen where you go from one season to the next and the animation just like dips. So this has been pretty persistent throughout.
Yeah, because then they just rely on how popular it is, so people are going to watch it. But I do think overall we both agree that the first episode to get you back in the season is really, really strong. It introduces all the characters without it being in your face.
You can almost start with this season because of how well it introduces everybody. Like, I felt like, you probably wouldn't know who's who and you wouldn't get as much value out of that, but it's still like a fantastic. Maybe you have someone you watch this first season yourself and you want to watch the second and you're like, well, I want to watch the first season because I'm kind of a jerk. So you want to just watch the second one and you're like, sure, I'll just watch the second one. It's no problem. And you probably still enjoy it.
You have questions about the plot, but the opening does at least introduce the characters really nicely. It gets you back in the groove.
Right. I think that's the big thing too, is the momentum continues. Because a lot of times also but I think one thing, and I guess we can just start going into spoilers now. So
I guess spoiler alert. We're starting spoilers. Go ahead and skip past if you are not interested. It'll be in the bar below.
The bar below. Don't go to the bar. Drink responsibly. Anyways,
okay.
So I mean, the first thing we go to China.
Yeah. And
we find talking animals, and I feel like talking animals is really where you should start any anime.
I mean, they're so cute and cuddly.
They're adorable.
Yeah.
That
especially
adorable mole.
The crow.
Or we have different opinions on that.
I thought the crow was really cute.
They're both furry, but it was interesting to kind of learn a little bit more about Amaterasu, the Rei actor, and kind of the background of the evangelist, and how it's not like, I always think it's interesting when you see a world and you're like, okay, we're in Japan, and they're like, okay, well, what's going on with the rest of the world, especially in anime like this, where the big premise of it is the rest of the world burned down. And so now we're going outside, you see there actually is civilization. It's not as well to do because of the advantages Japan has, but it still exists. Like, there's potato farmers in China, for example. So.
Right. And then, we also have the infernals that are, unique there because they can talk and they've been
pretty
around
regularly.
a
There's
time.
like a million of them because of the leftover from the Great Cataclysm, the Big Fire. I think it's Great Cataclysm, right? But
yeah.
So that was I liked that a lot. And then, like we mentioned, we learned a little bit more about Victor and the Joker, and a little bit more of the third party groups, because it's not just like Shinra versus the White Clads. It's Shinra versus the big corporations, the church.
Well, yeah, we learned more about the corporation too. What was it? Do you remember what it's called?
Haijima.
Haijima, that's right.
Yeah.
So we learned more about Haijima too.
Yeah, he's a gamer. Which, that's the president. He just has a Game Boy the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So we had to go into them and learn a little bit more. And especially, we actually learned a little bit more about Shinra's background, which was pretty sudden from about what his connection was with Haijima.
Yeah, so lots of interesting developments in this one.
There's a lot. Like, it's like you feel like, okay, well, they've got some side stories, but it's not going to be as juicy as this is. Like, I won't go too much into it because I know it's spoilers, but you gotta watch the show a little bit. Joker's story about where he grew up and stuff like that, and initially you just think he's a jerk, but then it's like he can't really be a nice guy, but he wants to try to do things the way he can.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
So that's
kind of the same with Victor. So though they are rogue elements, they almost look for a net positive.
Right.
To the whole deal there, and then we learn a lot more about the pillars. So like. The strongest fire people, essentially. Is that kind of more?
Well, the ones that have a Dola burst.
Yes, which you hear the word a lot, a Dola burst.
So we actually, I won't tell you who they are, even though, as Greg said, you do have to watch the anime if you want to know all the details. But there are two pillars that show up, new pillars that show up in this anime. So it's kind of speeding right along.
They're just collecting them all. They gotta.
So they're not doing great on that. I don't think they collected either of them, remember?
Well, yeah, but there's a reason why. One made sense, the other...
Didn't?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know.
It's kind of mixed. Like, that's where it's like, just... hopefully you watch it. Overall, like, I enjoyed it. I think the ending was very sudden on this season.
Yes, that's something that we both agree on, is that the ending didn't feel like an ending. It's like they're in the middle of, of things. I feel like they're in the middle of
a war, basically.
They're like doing their power ups, we're in our next training session, and then all of a sudden we're done. It's like we didn't end on the conflict resolution, we ended on the start of the next thing.
We really right when the match was lit, pun slightly intended, of this conflict, they had just trained in preparation of it. I guess based on how the story was going, it'd be hard to have something like a clear, like, in the middle of a big battle or a battle just concluded, I guess. But,
Yes.
I mean, it was a little bit like...
It was just like, that's the last episode?
There
like,
goes
what?
our wind out of our sails. Like, we're just floating on the ocean until the next season comes along. So
we'll have to see how the next season starts. They got to pick that back up. So
yeah.
We're going to see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that was the weakest point, if you will.
Was the ending,
And
yeah.
I say that with parentheses because it really was really strong and just was very sudden. And it makes me want to watch more, for sure. I don't feel like it's done for me. So.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely want to check out season 3.
Yeah, so to that point, would you recommend this season? Is it a season you would recommend to the recommendations that you recommend?
Can you say recommend one more time?
No.
Oh. Anyway, I think that I would definitely recommend it, especially if you like season 1. I think that you definitely should start with season 1 before doing season 2, just because there's so much information and so much character building first and foremost in season 1. But if you are a Fire Force fan, I think that you will definitely not be disappointed by this second season.
Yeah, and just an FYI for the dub, we still had all the same voice actors. I think that was a big plus.
That's
so
always
you're not gonna have a new crowd of people. You're like, okay, Shinra's that guy now. Oh, Arthur is that guy now.
I know it's very hard to like adjust when it's a new voice actor. So all of them are still top notch.
They're fantastic. So I recommend it as well. If you had to get a number out of 10, what would you give it?
I think the last season I did an 8 out of 10. I think this time I would do 7 out of 10. 7.5. Okay. I'd say 7.5 out of 10. It dropped just a little bit, especially because the ending really kind of like was the last thing I thought of, and so it kind of drops a little bit there for me. But overall, the season is still really strong, and things are progressing along. So I think I just drop a little bit.
I think I'm gonna do 7. I'm gonna commit to whole numbers.
Okay.
But the same reason where just the ending is a little bit like, huh? But then the rest is pretty well put together. Right. So
and they always say endings and beginnings are the important parts because that's what you start on, that's what you end lingering on. So it just was not.
The final piece of your sandwich is the other piece of that bread.
With nothing inside of it, just the bread.
Just the bread. That's
I know.
That's consistent. You know.
So.
Anyway, so yes, we both recommend this one. That gets a. Just to clarify, I think our ratings like 7 out of 10 doesn't mean it's average. I mean, this is pretty good, and you should watch it. We're not your teacher in 8th grade, all right? So I just want to clarify that.
It's not a C.
Yes, it's more like a B.
Right.
Which would be an 8, but we're not doing an 8. I'm doing a 7. So.
It's all relative, guys. It's all relative.
It's, numbers. Anyways, but yeah, which are actually part of that season. Check it out. Their numbers.
That's true.
They have numbers. I know it doesn't make any sense right now in the context, but it can make sense if you watch it, which we recommend. So, anyways, so thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our review of the 2nd season. Hopefully, we catch you in the 3rd season, which may have a 3 in the thumbnail. I don't know yet. I'm curious.
We'll see. I mean, does that mean every single season 2, season 3 things that just have numbers in it?
At the rate this is going, I'm going to run out of fingers if it's the momentum of the show. Yeah.
So,
but
thanks for watching. Go ahead and give us a subscribe and a like if you enjoy our reviews.
I mean, I like them.
I like them too.
I know I'm a little
We're
biased.
Excellent.
We're fantastic. And modest. Anyway.
Definitely. And humble. Both of those.
But thank you again for tuning in. We hope to catch you in the next one. Take care.
Bye.